guys, I just received my new rear shock for my 2014 Suzuki V-Strom. The seal in it blew. It was only, I only had 7,300 kilometers on it, so it's at 4,000 or 5,000 miles. But it sat for a long time, and I just bought it off a guy, and when I took it out, noticed a puddle of liquid on the bottom, so after much research and deliberation and looking at what's available here in Canada, I decided to go with this Ohlins shock. It was about 1,250 bucks Canadian, shipped to my house, landed within about a week and a half. Thought about going with Tractive and all those guys, but I was looking at a 6-week turnaround. So I got this shock here, and yeah, let's open it up. So this model is the Ohlins SU-916 shock absorber for the V-Strom. Online it says it's for the 3rd gens, 2017 to 2023. But I did some research, and I think that it is going to also work on my 2024. It doesn't seem like there's much difference at all. The part numbers are different on the rear suspension on those 2 generations, but some people said that maybe it's just a paint color or a spring weight or something like that. So I've got mine set up for 225 pounds rider with gear. I ride a fair bit 2-up. I weigh about 220, hoping to lose a few pounds, but worst case I'll at least have some luggage. So you can see here after tax I paid $1,435. This is the STX 46 shock, so they do make that for the 2014, but they don't make the STX for that generation with the remote hydraulic preload, which my bike has. So even though Ohlins said that they can't confirm this works on the 2nd gen bikes, I took a shot and I'm hoping it's gonna work out. So here's the mounting hardware for that remote hydraulic preload, it looks like, and an instruction manual. And here we go. There is the remote hydraulic preload right there. That's this section here on the STX 46 shock. The image was different than this online. It had this sort of connection on both ends. So clearly not as pictured. I bought this at Bayside Motorsports in Langley, British Columbia. But yeah, there you go. I think we'll try and get this bad boy on our bike right away here. All right, here in the garage with the Strom. Got my shock here. Just getting ready to install it. And I think I'm gonna start by taking off the rear passenger peg here so I can loosen this thing off. I hear lots of people having problems getting it by the ABS module, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I'll start by loosening that off and take some more video as we go. Got these SW Motec side racks on here, so I'm just gonna undo it here and the whole thing should come off. I think these just kind of twist, and one down here, and they pop off like that. And let's see, this bad boy should just kind of come off here. There we go. All right, I got my side rack and passenger foot peg off. So I guess I'm gonna start by, I'm just gonna loosen these 2 bolts there so that the remote hydraulic preload is loose. And you can see there's this hose here coming around up here that leads to the shock. You can see there. Then I'm gonna take off this bolt. Well, I'm gonna loosen the bolt, and I'm gonna loosen this dog bone down here, and then loosen the shock bolt under here, and then I'll lift it up. I just want to get everything loosened before I lift it up. So there we go. I'm also gonna loosen this brake line, this rear brake line you can see there. I think it's gonna kind of get in the way of removing that remote hydraulic preload. Might have to loosen up the ABS module. I think there's 3 bolts, one here, one on the other side, and then this one that goes kind of up there. But maybe I won't have to do that. We'll see. I hear people have problems with that ABS module getting in the way for this process, but we'll see how it goes. All right, that's loose there. I hear that this is real annoying to get out through there. So we'll fight with that for a little bit and see how it goes. Well, I don't like fighting too much, so I'm gonna take off this 8mm brake line here. I think that might help get this thing out of the way. Yeah, so as you can see, it doesn't really have a lot of room to go anywhere. But a little bit more fighting, we'll see how it goes here. There's a little clip here. I'm just gonna use a flathead screwdriver and undo that little clip there. All right, so I got it pretty much back there out of the way just by moving that brake hose. I think there's gonna be enough clearance to drop it, pull it out when the shock comes out. So next I'll just loosen up some of these bolts before I lift the bike up. $17mm here on the dog bone. Nice and loose. All right, well, I don't think I can really loosen that up. I might try to throw a wrench on there real quick, just see if I can crack it loose before I get the bike up so I don't have to torque on the bike while it's on the stand too much. Well, that's not gonna happen. I don't want to torque it too much. I'll see once the dog bone's off, I can blast her off with the impact. I don't have a center stand, but I just installed this Happy Trails skid plate, so I am hoping that this will do the trick. Little piece of cardboard here. This thing up. Make sure we're relatively centered. Gotta get that back wheel off the ground a bit. Skid plate flexed a bit. Makes me a little nervous. It's not too stable. I've got these straps here, so I'm just gonna tighten these up a bit. This would probably be a lot easier with the center stand. And yeah, I ordered one from Happy Trails, and they said they shipped it to me. Then my parts arrived in the mail. The skid plate, but no center stand, even though I paid customs and duties and they declared it on the customs form. Pretty annoying. So yeah, living life without a center stand. Yeah, this is kind of sketchy, but I don't really have any other options at the moment. So, wheels off. think that's about as good as she gets. Just gonna have to be kind of careful here. Wish me luck. So with the wheel off the ground, I will take the dog bones off and undo that bottom shock bolt. And then the top one, and see what happens. See if we can get that shock out of there. 17 mil bolt here. Already loosened. That's kind of nice. Guess I gotta take the top one off too. I didn't think about that. I got both those nuts off of the dog bone. I'm just gonna use a Robertson and a hammer to tap those bolts out. There's one. We'll get to the other side here, see if we can get those out the rest of the way. You can use a shovel to take some of the weight off the tire, off the wheel. You should just kind of slide right out. Yeah. So with a little bit of leverage using this shovel, those bolts slid right out. Oh, the wheel probably dropped right down. All right, next is taking out that bottom shock bolt. So that's what we'll do now. It's a 14 mil. It's just spinning on the other side, so I gotta get a ratchet on there. I got that nut off there. It just slides right out. Linkage. There's the bottom of my shock already loose. So I'll take that top bolt out and see if we can get this thing out of here. There it is. That came out really easy. Just took literally a second. Yeah, this shock is leaking from the piston. In there, must have been the failed seal or something, but yeah, you can see but fluid on there. Yeah, I could have sent this off to someone to rebuild it. Might still do that and sell it, but for now we're getting an upgrade. All right, here are both the shocks side by side. They look to be pretty much identical in length, so that's a plus. I'm gonna adjust this rebound. I just screwed it all the way in clockwise, and Ohlins says the first click in anti-clockwise is 0, so I'll just do that. I can't hold my phone on a tripod, sorry. Okay, so I'm at 0 and they say 14 clicks. So I'll do those 14 clicks here. I gotta put my phone down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right. So there's the rebound adjusted. And there'll be more preload adjustments once it's on the bike and I can do the sag and stuff like that. I'm gonna grab my multimeter and take some measurements here. So I measured this top here. I got 1.2, and it's pretty much the same, identical on the Ohlins. So that's a good sign. We can measure this. It's hard to do with one hand. Just take that measurement quick here. 1.2 again. And it's a little narrower, but that should be okay. It's like not even it's like very small difference, couple thousandths. So yeah, those are the same dimensions, so I don't see why this shock isn't gonna work, even though Ohlins doesn't say it's good for the second gen V-Stroms, 2017, 2018 up. So yeah, I took a shot in the dark getting this thing for my 2014, and so we'll see how it goes. Gonna get this shock installed, and we'll take some video along the way here. I'm just gonna throw some grease on some of these bolts that hold the shock on, just for posterity. There it is, first bolt on. Preload, easy to thread through because it's smaller. I'll jump to the other side and kind of pull that through. Get the nut on here. So here's the preload adjuster, so I can get this thing through here without scratching it up too much. Here we go. Well, that'll sit right there like that. Get that up in that clip there. Sweet. All right, got that first bolt on there, and look up the torque specs and stuff, and do the final torque tightening once it's down on the ground. Now onto the bottom. Yeah, it's a little tight here. All right, I gotta fiddle with that a bit more to get that in there. The shock is all bolted up. Just gotta torque her down. I think I'll get this thing set up here. It comes with a little bracket, and get that mounted on there before I torque everything down. Here's the bracket for the remote hydraulic preload and the hardware that came with it. Just get that set up so this goes right onto the hydraulic remote, and these line up with the chassis. Okay, got that mounted on there, yeah, we'll see how it goes. That was pretty easy. Just 4 bolts, 2 to mount it onto the bracket here, 2 to put it on. Sticks out a little bit further than the stock one, but that'll be easy to do. Easy to change the preload with my girlfriend on the back, and for the luggage. So, all right, I think I'll look up the torque specs and get her all torqued down, and soon be taking her for a maiden voyage here after I get it back together. All right, here's the torque specs for that rear shock. So the top bolt is a 14 mil, it'll get 36 foot-pounds, and the dog bones are 14 mils. They'll get 36 foot-pounds as well, and the big guy on the bottom will get 56.5 foot-pounds. So there it is, got her all back together, and took it for a couple of rides, and everything seems to be going pretty sweet.